What's up everyone and welcome back to the MMA Zone. Today, let's get started with Sean O'Malley's title fight made official. With no shortage of top contenders, the bantamweight division is without question one of the most stacked divisions in all of the UFC. Given that, it's no wonder many are questioning whether the number one contender spot earned by Sean O'Malley at UFC 280 will hold up now that Merab Dvalishvili sits as the division's top contender on the UFC's official rankings. According to Sugar Sean, he'll face the winner of the UFC 288 showdown between Aljamain Sterling and Henry Cejudo on May 6th. During a recent episode of his Bro Malley podcast, the streaking 135-pound contender revealed that he sat down with the UFC to finalize plans for him to face the winner.
My next fight will be huge, guaranteed. Winner of Henry Aldo, talk to the UFC. That's happening. It's official. Winner of that fight, I will fight.
In the meantime, Merab Dvalishvili and Corey Sandhagen could find themselves on a collision course in the wake of Sandhagen's win over Chito Vera at UFC Fight Night San Antonio. With the two men both eager to get their crack at the title, there's also the burning question of whether or not Aljamain Sterling plans to move up to featherweight in the wake of his fight against Cejudo. With his longtime friend and training partner Merab Dvalishvili poised for a title shot in the not-so-distant future, the fact that the two men have no plans of fighting one another has created quite the dilemma. According to UFC President Dana White, turning down a fight because of a friendship isn't the wisest career decision. Given that, many are wondering if the Funkmaster will make good on his claims of moving up to 145 pounds so that Dvalishvili can get his crack at the title. With a massive bantamweight title fight coming up between Aljamain Sterling and Henry Cejudo, and a clash with Sean O'Malley on tap for the winner, how do you see things playing out at 135 pounds? Drop your predictions in the comment section below. Michael Bisping makes bold prediction ahead of Pereira-Adesanya rematch. With less than a week to go until UFC 287, the fight community has continued to discuss the highly anticipated rematch between Alex Pereira and Israel Adesanya. Will Pereira be able to make it two straight inside the octagon against his longtime rival, or will the last stylebender finally capture a win over the former two-division Glory Kickboxing champion? Those two questions have continued to dominate discussions in the weeks leading up to the fight. This week, Michael Bisping weighed in on a video for his YouTube channel where he explained the element of surprise that Adesanya brings into the fight. After finding success with his grappling in the first fight, Bisping wonders if Adesanya will look to catch Pereira by surprise and look for a takedown early in order to hunt for a submission.
Now listen, of course, Pereira training with the likes of Glover Teixeira, and of course Chuck Liddell, they've been there, done it, got the t-shirt, they know how to get back to the feet, but the element of surprise from Israel Adesanya, he might just catch him, you never know.
With the pay-per-view card taking place in Miami, the expectation is that Joe Rogan and Daniel Cormier will handle commentary duties alongside John Anik, meaning Bisping could be the odd man out. How do you see the Adesanya-Pereira rematch playing out? Let us know in the comment section down below. Darren Till reveals plan for UFC title run. After Darren Till was defeated by Dricus du Plessis, marking his third straight loss at middleweight, many wondered if he was going to retire from MMA. As he revealed in a video following the third-round submission loss, he had no plans to close the book on his fighting career. Despite that, he recently found himself in headlines after it was revealed that the UFC had removed him from their roster. As he explained, he requested his release in order to get his knees fixed so that he could return and compete at a high level. Now, Till has revealed his plans to return and make a big UFC run within the next 2 to 3 years. He spoke in an interview with New Online Casinos.
100%, like my aspirations haven't changed in that sense. Like obviously when money comes and money goes, ideas and mindsets change, but I've just still got that mindset. I'm only 30, most of the UFC champions and all that are like 34, 35, and I've already been at the top of 30, so I know I can do it. I just need to be directed in the right way. I need to make sure my body's fit and healthy, my mind. And
do you think we'll ever see Till compete for another title in the UFC? Drop your thoughts in the comments section below. Before we continue, make sure you give that like button some love and be sure to subscribe to the MMA Zone for all of the latest news. Robert Whittaker offers advice to Alex Pereira. It's no secret that UFC middleweight champion Alex Pereira is one of the biggest fighters in the UFC's middleweight division. In order to compete at 185 pounds, Pereira cuts a tremendous amount of weight before then rehydrating and returning to his natural weight. Despite the massive cut, however, Pereira has been able to consistently perform, giving him the unique ability to truly contend in two divisions throughout his kickboxing career. Now, as he looks to claim another win over his longtime rival Israel Adesanya, there's been renewed talk regarding Pereira's seemingly inevitable move up to light heavyweight. The way former champion Robert Whittaker sees things, however, there's one thing Pereira doesn't want to do: fight Jon Jones.
And his striking is world caliber. I think he'd have a lot of success in the heavier weight divisions. It depends if he's going to make the jump all the way to heavyweight. I don't think that's the move. I think light heavy would be the way, because
I was going to say it's a big jump.
Yeah. I'd stay well away from Jon Jones.
I don't know who's going to be able to beat him.
Well away from. Well, I've seen Pereira's wrestling, and I'm not going to say it's terrible, but you stay well away from Jon Jones.
Yeah.
Of course, Pereira and Jamal Hill have expressed an interest in fighting one another in the past, with both men confident that they can defeat the other. Add in the fact that Hill defeated Pereira's longtime friend and training partner Glover Teixeira to claim the title, and you have all the makings of an interesting clash of champions. With Jamal Hill sitting as the light heavyweight champion, do you believe that Pereira will be able to capture UFC gold in another division? Mark Hunt goes off on the UFC. UFC and Pride legend Mark Hunt recently went off on the UFC, accusing the promotion of taking advantage of its fighters. On the heels of the promotion's massive UFC 284 card in Perth, Hunt believes that the UFC owes the fighters much more than they were paid for their work. Given that Volkanovski and Makhachev packed the arena, Hunt believes the UFC should have paid Volkanovski as the hometown hero $15 to $20 million. During a recent interview, Hunt guessed that Volkanovski probably made $2 per pay-per-view buy, far less than he deserved. To put things simply, he believes it's more than a problem. It's a quote, joke. He spoke in a recent interview on the Casual Fan Experience, saying,
You know, all the Aussies, all the Kiwis that went and supported them in Perth, all this and that pay-per-view, half of that money should be given to him and his family. Half of it, without a question. But he probably organised maybe $1.50, $2, even $3.
Yeah.
To be lucky. He'd be lucky to get $3 out of it. So he would have made probably $2-3 million when he should have been making $15 to $20 million.
With the UFC's revenue split with its fighter being far less than many sports organizations, do you think we'll ever see a change? Drop your thoughts in the comment section below. Jose Aldo reacts to Francis Ngannou leaving the UFC. Ever since Francis Ngannou and the UFC parted ways, the fight community has continued to share their thoughts on the matter. While Ngannou has maintained that his reasons for leaving the UFC were much more complex than just money, Jose Aldo believes the Predator shot himself in the foot by parting ways with the promotion. Ahead of his boxing match against Jeremy Stephens for Game Bred Boxing 4 in Milwaukee, Aldo gave his thoughts on Ngannou's departure. With all humbleness, I think Ngannou shot himself in the foot. He had everything to sign a great contract, the biggest in heavyweight, but this desire to be a boxing champion or to fight in boxing, people see the top of the boxing pyramid getting paid big numbers, but forget that the lower part is paid so little. I think the UFC has bigger salaries than boxing. Of course, as Ngannou has stated, he wanted more than to just be the highest paid heavyweight in history. Going into negotiations, he wanted 3 things from the promotion, knowing full well they wouldn't agree to all 3, but hopeful that they could negotiate in good faith and compromise. The 3 things he wanted were health insurance for fighters, the ability for fighters to secure their own sponsorships, and the representative on behalf of fighters at board meetings. When the UFC declined to negotiate with him, he declined the contract referenced by Aldo that would have made him the highest paid heavyweight in the UFC. Do you think he made a wise choice? And now for our breaking news story of the day. We have UFC parent company Endeavor in advanced talks with Vince McMahon to buy the WWE. The WWE has spent months in negotiations with buyers, but it's reportedly close to reaching a deal with Endeavor. The deal would combine the UFC and WWE into one publicly traded company. With this move, it would make it easier for WWE fighters like Brock Lesnar to cross over to the UFC, since they won't have any issues with the WWE. Conor McGregor reacted to this news on Twitter, saying, "Congrats to the UFC, now worth a cool proper $12 billion. Wow, Endeavor about to scoop the WWE now also. Incredible. What a powerhouse." Followed by a picture of him with the UFC and WWE belt at the same time. Do you think this will be good or bad for the UFC? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching the video. Make sure to subscribe and click the notification bell to stay up to date with MMA news every day. Here are the top comments from yesterday's video. Is he gonna just go for points? Always talks about killing, but ends up fighting like Floyd Mayweather. Someone responded with, at least Mayweather fought guys as big or bigger. Izzy fights dudes 5 inches shorter with like a 10-inch reach advantage. Anyone who actually paid money for a Jake Paul fight needs to be put on a watch list. Is he getting knocked out again? Those losses live in Izzy's mind like an abusive father. And those were the top comments from yesterday's video. If you want to be featured on our next video, make sure to leave a comment and don't forget to check out yesterday's video in case you missed it.